What's going on out there, guys? Back with another one after the conclusion of this round of the playoffs here. You know, it's your guy here, the franchise guy, aka the franchise kid, aka Young Sporty, here with volume 12 here. Gonna be volume 12, episode 12. Back again for a playoff season. And yeah, it's been a fun one to watch. It's been a crazy one. But shit. Fuck, we're getting into, all the little pleasantries about what happened this weekend. Let's get straight into it. I'm going to start off, of course, with the first game of the day, which was Philadelphia and, in LA. Good game to watch. It was definitely a good game to watch. Seemed like it was a little back and forth and everything for the first two quarters. I was definitely wrong about the Rams. They scored 2 touchdowns in the first half. They didn't really get too overpowered. Maybe for a moment there when it was, I think the Eagles went up 28-15, I want to say. But LA battled right back. So it was good to see that. Of course, Coach Sean McVay, he still got it, being the great coach that he is, keeping his team in it. Scheming some good plays for the offense and everything. And the Rams defense is tough. Like, their defense is tough. I think I spoke about that a little bit in the last episode or whatever, saying, there's some guys on there that, the average fan may not know, but they be getting busy doing their work. Of course, we know possibly the defensive rookie of the year, Jared Verse. He was going crazy. He was a game wrecker in there. I think he had 2 sacks. He's talking shit to the Philly fans and everything before the game. But he still made his name known. I'm like, yeah, I'm a motherfucker you got to worry about. Y'all niggas gonna have to keep eyes on me. So he still, showed up and showed out. I like to see shit like that because one thing that it seems like you always see, especially in big football games, is you see 1 or 2 players from 2 different teams talking shit to each other. And then by the time shit pop off in the big game, the person who started talking shit first don't really do nothing, or both players don't do shit at all. You know what I mean? Or they flop. But he told me, yeah, y'all niggas gonna have to keep your eye on me and worry about me. So he had a good game and let it be known. But, the Eagles did their thing too. So, but yeah, like I was saying, with the first point to get started on it, the Rams defense is tough. That front line is tough. All them guys made plays up there. Linebackers, even though they may have been overpowered here and there, of course, letting Saquon spring a couple loose. Again, Saquon was running some of them niggas over too, running straight through them and past them and by them and around them. But, they still held their own for the most part. Their back end made some plays also. I also think that maybe there might have been some plays where a flag shouldn't have been called. A guy like Akilla Weatherspoon, but that's probably just me watching it as a real football fan that likes to see, like, yo, it's the playoffs, so let these niggas get a little physical, like, let the boys play a bit. But, they still play good. So it was good to see both of these teams go back and forth. And on the flip side, speaking of the Rams defense, speaking of the Eagles defense now, them niggas got a couple of them ones over there. I mean, you got Nolan Smith, young boy out of Georgia with his running mate Jalen Carter. They was putting the pressure on. You know what I mean? They was putting pressure on that offensive line on Stafford all day. But they've been doing this throughout the whole season and through the playoffs. So, they've been wrecking the game. Nolan Smith, people, I think when he was coming out for the draft, had a few question marks about his frame, this and that. And when I seen him playing at Georgia, I just seen a football player, you know what I mean, flying around everywhere. Could probably play linebacker if he had to, if it was traditional back in the day. Defenses could probably just play the will linebacker, fly around and blitz. But, he's, as we could see and how he plays, he's naturally an edge rusher. And, it's good to see that he's panning out so far. He He's having a good playoffs, and he had a good season. And Jalen Carter is going fucking crazy. He's a fucking game wrecker. He was all over the place, stopping runs, getting sacks, causing pressures. I think he got his hand on a tip ball at one point, maybe today. So he's a fucking game wrecker. And with all his shit and his trouble coming out of the draft and off the field and even on the field, we see how he acts and everything like that. I ain't gonna lie, I'll say that right now. Like, that motherfucker worth all the trouble that he is so far for right now in his career. You know what I mean? So I'll say that, but he had a big game today. 2 sacks. Like I said, a lot of pressures, just wrecking the game all over. Some of the Eagles DBs made some plays also. I mean, they had Kenyon Mitchell. He went down with an injury, which I think is their best rookie corner between him and DeJean there. But he went out early. But Slay still had a good game, had a couple good deflections, and he was just playing sticky coverage. The safeties made their plays. Zach Bond, of course, he all over the field all the time. He was making plays and making stops. So the Eagles defense really showed up to play as well. But, on the offensive side, the Eagles, it's Saquon. Saquon did his thing, was going crazy. Of course, Jalen Hurts sprung one off, and he was going crazy. Sprung one off for a big touchdown to start the game. But this game was good to watch. It was a little back and forth, a little bit of a slow ebb and flow, but just one of those solid, tough football games there in the cold weather, in the snow off and on, with the sleet or the rain involved too. So it's just one of those type of games that you just feel good being around in that environment and watching it as far as a football fan. Like, just cold out there, some hard-nosed football. Both teams were running the ball, and they were running the ball pretty good, pretty strong, pretty solid and everything. Saquon went off. Goddard had a great day also. I peeped that after a while when once the Rams defense started kind of catching on to their run game and making a couple key stops here and there, or a couple stops early in the drive. And they couldn't really, they didn't really feel comfortable throwing the ball down the field or outside the numbers, I guess because of the weather. They went to Goddard, couple screens, couple short throws, let him run a little bit, lower that shoulder. So he had a big day, and that was good to see. It was also good to see Jalen Hurts in this game, because I felt like last week I'm like looking a little sus trying to throw that ball there. So it's a good thing they got Saquon and he can move his legs also. And it's a good thing they got those plays off of Goddard last week, but they can't throw the ball downfield. This game, they took some shots. They took shots with A.J. Brown and they took shots with Devontae. Didn't all work out, you know what I mean? But they took them shots. That's good to see, too, that you still want to be aggressive like that. Job's not finished yet. You still have a whole other playoff game to get to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? But it's still good to see that you want to be aggressive like that and make those plays, because those plays are also going to be needed if you really want to secure a win and put the nail in the coffin of your opponent and shut out hope for them getting back in the game or winning the game against you on the ultimate stage to get to the biggest game in the league, which is the Super Bowl, obviously, right? So they took some shots there, but with that, I got to get into this, right? So all of that, hands up in the air and niggas doing little gimmicks on the sideline and getting antsy and, crying and reading books. And it's not just this season I'm talking about last season also, and earlier in this season, and then the last Super Bowl against the Chiefs, which it looks like it may be a rematch of that, might be. A.J. Brown, okay, they threw some deep balls to you. They giving you some opportunities to get your shine now in the game. You dropping balls. And yes, I count the double catching ones as drop passes because they wasn't in bounds. The one that he should have had, it would have been a touchdown probably, or at least a first and goal. Double clutching it, that's a drop because you out of bounds and you drop the other. In the biggest games. It's the playoffs, baby. You're supposed to be that number one go-to playoff receiver. Because we seen it before. We definitely seen it in the regular season. But we seen you also pout and cry and do these little antics on the sideline and shit because you're not getting the ball in the regular season also and in the playoffs. Now it's the playoffs. And niggas giving you that, you know what I mean? Giving you that opportunity now to do your thing. Dropping that shit today. What's going on? What the fuck is that shit about? You know, I noticed that, and while I was watching the game and seeing that, it had me thinking a little bit further on the subject. I'm gonna touch on it in just a couple seconds here, right? Because on the flip side, Puka Nacua, who had a breakout season last, I guess his rookie year last season, probably dealt with some injuries last season, some injuries this season or whatever, right? But breakout guy, might be a star that we didn't think was going to turn into a star. Not a superstar or anything like that yet. Maybe still room to see. But, him on the other side, drop passes. Biggest game in the playoffs. It's the playoffs now. It's big boy shit now. Drop passes. Not getting out the break early enough. What's going on here? You're supposed to be the key receiver for Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford, he got the experience, so, he had a nice little solid game. He was doing his thing, and it had me thinking about this, right, and going into it. Playoff receivers versus star receivers. What a star receiver is in the playoffs versus what a playoff receiver is in big playoff games. And if you ask me, keep it a buck, right? If I got a team that I know is prime to go to the playoffs or be a perennial playoff team or even a contender on that, on that trajectory throughout whatever 3 or 4 years of a program, right? Give me the roster with the playoff receivers. What do I mean by those playoff receivers, right? And what do I mean by that? So you look at one of the dynasties we've seen over years, right? With the Patriots, Tom Brady. None of them niggas is shiny new toys like that. That was number one overall picks and first round picks and this and that. Despite Deion Branch, you know what I mean. But it's a little bit of a different story and different kind of times in that era they were playing in, right? But it wasn't none of them. They were all just guys that. They knew their job. They was in the system. They got open, but not just that they got open. These niggas could play in this tough weather, especially in with certain divisions like the AFC, where it feels like every fucking playoff team plays outside and plays in the snow. But what I mean by that, playoff receiver, he gonna make them tough catches when he get hit. He gonna make them tough catches when he know it count in traffic. He got the body to take them hits and be like, fuck it, I gotta get up and keep going and do this shit. Not all through the season I'm always doing flashy shit, this, that. I'm having games for 6 catches, 150 yards, and two tuds, you know what I'm saying? But in the playoffs, I can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of receiver. And it was a group. It wasn't like it was just Wes Welker or it was just Gronkowski. Because Gronkowski, he was a superstar tight end, but that was a playoff motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, that motherfucker was taking them hits and getting back up, playing through being hurt, making them tough catches, rain, sleet, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Give me those type of receivers. Not necessarily exactly like the Patriots receivers. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna get into, whatever I feel about those Patriot years, but I'm just saying, give me those kind of guys, like a similar to a Debo, where Debo, I get his whole game is not known for being a route runner per se or all the way complete receiver. But a lot of those guys that you've seen throughout the playoffs that got him there and made those tough catches weren't all the way complete receivers as compared to the top complete receivers in the league that you see, like, you know what I'm saying, like the star receivers and shit that get drafted number 1 overall and this and that, right? But, Debo in his playoff runs with the Niners and shit was doing like some real shit, like making those tough catches, breaking those big tackles, you know, getting real grimy in the trenches and shit to get them first downs and stuff. You know, and it's like I seen doing that. I seen doing for the Rams, who has experience, who's won a Super Bowl, I think maybe 2, with the Chiefs, has experience. You don't think about him in that way, but in these games, on this part of the season, he's done it. And he did it, I believe, with the Rams also. The last time they was in the playoffs, they signed him off of waivers, if I'm thinking correctly. You know who's doing that today? In the snow? Demarcus Robinson. Playoff receiver. And I'm not talking about like, oh, he's a star in the play. I'm not saying that. I'm saying playoff receiver. When we need you to get that 10-yard in the snow, you know you're going to take a hit from the cornerback or the safety, can you hold on to it? Yes, get your ass in the game. We throwing you the rock. When you need this first down, when you need this 12 yards, when I need you to get over, I need you to make that block, can you do it? Yes. Get his ass in the game, get him involved here. And another dude who still has that left in the tank that I saw make a couple tough catches today, Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp ain't no first-round receiver. When he came out, niggas knew what school he went to, and he was niggas was writing little articles about him. You heard about him, like, hey, this is a guy you might want to keep your eye on out of Eastern Washington or wherever the fuck he came out of the 3rd round or 4th round or whatever he was picked. But he was making them catches and shit because he has the experience and he been there. He done it. They gonna make them catches and that shit, right? But A.J. Brown, niggas like A.J. Brown and shit, you flash, you just say, I want my numbers, I want to look good through the season, I need my numbers, this, that. But when the playoffs hit this year, like, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not writing the book and so over on him on that, like, this is just what he is. I'm not saying that, because I like A.J. Brown. I think he has the ability to be one of them type of playoff receivers, which he has that frame, take tough catches, break big tackles, all that shit, everything. But it's just looking sus right now. It's looking sus today. You know? So that's just my little whatever. My little, I guess, mini soliloquy on that shit. Give me a playoff receiver. Give me the niggas they want to get a little dirty. They want to take a hit and they want to hold on to it and everything. In the biggest games, not just, I'm by my numbers and I'm a power if I don't get my numbers and shit. But then when we go to you 5 times in a row, we go to you in the game in the playoffs when it's snowing or when it's mad cold or when the other defense got some real rugged, scrappy niggas and shit. You like, oh shit, I can't catch it, or I can't run the right route, I'm not getting open, or I ain't feeling it today. Fuck that. I'll take the nigga we don't know from the 5th round or got off waivers and shit. That is like, it's playoff time. I know I gotta make this play. I have to. Just give me them niggas. I'll ride out with them to a championship and try and win one every time. Give me them motherfuckers. But back to this game. I think one of the key plays also, because at one point it felt like it could kind of go either way. But I think one of the key plays was the Kyron Williams fumble, who, the kid was running good. He's running good all game. Started getting some more steam as the 3rd quarter started ending and rolling in the 4th quarter. It looked like he was getting more energy, and it started going from like 3.5 yards, 4 yards to maybe like 5 yards, anywhere between 4.5 to 6 yards a carry. And then he had one where it looked like it was gonna be another like 6-yard carry or something like that, and he fumbled, and this is where shit kind of turned around some more. He fumbled because before that, they got the safety, they got the sack on Jalen Hurts in the end zone, right? And it was like, oh shit, like, it wasn't nothing significant. They were still down 1, but they could have took a lead, and then, you know what I mean? Just feel a little bit like, all right, let's pin our ears back now on defense and try and force a turnover and get crazy. But Kyron Williams fumbled. And you know who it was who made that big play? The peanut punch. And I'm talking about, it wasn't in the first 2 yards. Like I said, it was like a 6-yard run, and it looked like he could have got some more. But you know who it was who came out on that 2nd to 3rd level-ish? running down the line, coming to be the old shit guy to fuck up the game, fuck up. Jalen Carter. This nigga came out of nowhere. Not came out of nowhere. He did what he was supposed to do and ran down, did his pursuit. And a big motherfucker like that, you just see how athletic and fast he is. I mean, fuck the strength. We know he got that shit. But you see how athletic he is. You know what I mean? To run down and pursue and still have the IQ out there to be like, yo, punch this shit loose. Perfectly, too. And that kind of flip shit around and flip the momentum around. So that was a great fucking play by Jalen Carter in the game. And like I said, you know, worth all his trouble, you know, for right now in his career and everything like that, worth all the trouble. But that was a great play. And then they I think after that they caught a lead where it looked like they were supposed to go up 23-15. I turned my head for 2 seconds. I guess Jake Elliott missed the field goal, so it's 22-15, still a 7-point game. So it's like, all right, you still got to, you know what I mean, do your thing. Then, you know, there was another turnover, if I remember correctly. And, you know, they score again. There's another play where Saquon runs wild for another touchdown. That should seal it. So it's like 28-15 at this point, right? But the Rams is like, fuck that. We still fighting. And all you could see on the sideline, then there was a point you could see on the sideline, the Rams defensive players, they didn't look dejected or deflated or nothing. They was still like, fuck that. All right. You know, it's all right. We still, you know, we still got a chance. As long as the offense score again, we still in this. And then the offense scored again. And the defense started getting more hype. And like, yo, we still fucking in this. Get the ball back into the offense's hands, and then this shit really low-key went down to the wire as the Rams drove down the field, giving the ball to their playoff receivers, Robinson and Kupp, making tough catches. But then, right after, I think Slay made a good play on the ball on Puka Nicole, who really didn't show up like that. It was crazy as hell because motherfucking Stafford lays one out there just over Slay's hand. Slay tried to make a play on the ball to at least just make a deflection. And who catches it and keeps their feet in bounds in the snow and everything? Puka Nicole. I'm like, okay, my nigga, see, now that's how you supposed to play in the playoffs instead of all these fucking little drops and shit in the beginning of the game. So it was a great play, made it interesting. And shit went down to the wire. And at the end of the day, they just couldn't make the play. It could have been closer, but, you know, if you ask me, thinking about it, that out route was a little bit too deep. Should I at least maybe a little bit shorter? Could Kupp make somebody miss? I think he was throwing the Kupp, right? It was like a Kupp in the club. I'm pretty sure it was Kupp. Could Kupp make a miss and still get the first down and get out of bounds? Because them receivers was doing a good job. Again, they asses out of bounds after making that catch on that whole drive. Because I was like, oh, this shit might fuck around and get real interesting. But we going to see, you know. Because Philly's defense was making some plays today. But at the end of the day, they couldn't line it up. Out route, deep. Slay played good coverage. They probably thought it was a flag or something questionable. I'm not going to say that shit at all from what I saw because... 1, it's the playoffs. 2, this is football. Come on, son. You gotta let him play right there. And Slay he's earned his credibility enough, even if it was that, to get away with that because he could cover. It ain't like he one of these other niggas out here that always be fucking holding, can't move their feet, got bad technique, don't get their head around. Nah. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it was a play short. But good win by the Eagles. They're gonna be against the familiar foe who they've had trouble with this year, and Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, you know, to get to the Super Bowl. So it's just, you know, one more chapter until possibly the rematch. Like I just said, like I've been saying, but you know, now we got to get to Buffalo and Baltimore. With that being said, right? Now, first I'm going to start with this. Like I was going to say, like I said, can't beat yourself. You got to execute. And what do? They beat themselves yet again. I'm talking about the Baltimore Ravens. You have to execute every single play on offense and defense. And from basically the beginning of the game, they had a good first drive. They executed great. Then on defense, let the Bills come down and score. A little bit leaky on defense. Giving niggas too much space in the passing game. And niggas come off the line freely. Giving too many lanes to run through a little leaky. All right. Cool, 7-7. But now here y'all go again. This is the next driver. You know you got to make the statement because whoever blinks first is probably, you know what I'm saying? Whoever blinks first is probably going to lose the match. Start beating yourselves, not executing. Lamar Jackson. Why? Why are we just throwing it up right to the defender? Just throwing it up. You had time, bro. You know? Interception, tail wrap. Fine, cool. Bills come down, run through the defense, all of that. You know, throwing it a little bit, but mainly running, right? They score a touchdown, score again. Get the ball back or whatever, right? Drive was going all right, going a little good. Okay. Got some steam, got some motion. Okay. Snap goes over your head, the ball slippery, whatever. But then you try and do all of this action jackson, I'm the superhero shit. Fumble. For Von Miller to run all the way to their territory, easy score for them now. So now let's rewind back real quick, right? Snap goes a little too high, whatever, slips out your hand and all that shit. You over here trying to be a hero, do this action jackson shit, go crazy, hold the ball out, not even. Bro, it's the playoffs now. You are a veteran, a highly esteemed vet. You know better. You know you better than this. Now it's time to just live for another fucking down. Von Miller's right there. I get it. You like, yeah, he old now, and he ain't been playing this whole season. I could do this. I'm Lamar. I get that, right? But you not. He built for this. He ready for this. He got the experience too. You like, oh yeah, he old now. Nope. Nigga, go down and cover the ball and live for another down. Nope. You want to hold it out, do all this extra. I'm Action Jackson shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I'm the Action Jackson hero and shit. Hold the ball out, fumble. That fucked you up, my nigga. That fucked you up. You know? So you got that. Then they score, whatever, go into halftime, whatever. Come back. All right, it's not that bad. You settle down. Now it's a game. It's still a game. You're still in it. Still in it. They can't stop you. You kind of can't stop them. And then finally, what I was proud of, because that's what I was saying, there's a lot of leaky defense from the Ravens. You giving up wide corners off 10 yards. I get Josh Allen has a big arm, but he's not doing that to you like that today. He's not. On top of the fact that y'all got to defend that run better, baby. Tighten up in the box, too. You got the beefy guys to do it. That sounded kind of crazy, pause. You got the dudes in the middle, the big guys to do that, to stop that, whatever, but it just seemed a little bit too leaky. You know what I mean? And corners playing off, safeties playing too far off, so then they couldn't really make an impact in the box of stopping the run like that more efficiently. And then every now and again, you know who he's going to look to first. First two reads, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid. Khalil Shakir, Dawson Knox. He barely even looked for his outside receivers. Mind you, let's also rewind. Speaking of outside receivers, let's rewind back to the first terrible call that I think was kind of key also, that kind of, you know what I mean, helped the Bills score their first touchdown. And offensive pass interference on Coleman, man, with that Trey Davis White shit. That was good coverage, and you could clearly see Coleman pushes right off. Not making it as an excuse like, oh, this was a deciding factor in the game. But it was still something key because that could have been a 7-0 and then maybe a 10-point to 14-point swing for the Ravens if they hold them to a 3-and-out and get the ball back and score again. But even in that same quarter, Ravens still had a lot of miscues, dropped pass by fucking Travis Henry and all this other shit, whatever, so fine. But now let's get back to, the leaky defense. Who his reads are. It's going to be Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, or Dawson Knox, whoever's in at the tight end scene there, whatever. And then they're going to do that little motion with Cook or whatever running back to give him the safety valve there and a run after the catch. Other than that, he's going to run, right? They was letting that Khalil Shakir shit rock the whole game. And then finally they decided to switch it up where it looked like they kind of bracketed and then they made it look like it was a bracket in a zone, but it was really a man where you could see both Humphrey and Stevens in the slot. And it looked like Khalil Shakir was in the middle of them and it was going to be a zone, but it ended up being a man. And Humphrey actually ended up taking Dawson Knox, I think it was, or Kincaid, which is good. And they finally decided to be like, no, put a body on Shakir. And it looked like they was like, oh, it's a passing interference. Nah, I don't want. His arm was on him, this and that, but he ain't rip him around. There wasn't nothing crazy or egregious. But that was a great adjustment. You had to do that there. And then that's when the Ravens started. They're like, yes, we finally made that stop, so he ain't do that stupid ass shit. And they started to get rolling. Once they started to get rolling, this, that, and then, I gotta say, Mark fucking Andrews. Nigga makes a good catch for you. He's wide open, tries to get cute, do some other extra moves, gets plucked. Plucked him, fumble. And it's crazy because they said, I think the stat that came on was his first fumble since 2019. Crazy. And it's just, you can't make mistakes. You're never going to win big games, big playoff games against especially very tough opponents like the Bills of the world, like the Bengals of the world, like the Chiefs of the world. You're not going to be able to overcome turning over the ball 3 times like that. You know what I mean? Gives the defense momentum, gives the crowd momentum, gives the offense when they get the ball back or the opposing team momentum. It's tough. But I got to give shout out to the Bills defense who all game they was scrappy. They was scrappy. They was tough. You know what I mean? They played the run really tough at first, in the first half and everything like that. But after a while, they couldn't stop the run. Henry did start running all over them. There were some creases. Justice Hill ran all over them and everything. They got passed on also. Bateman had a good game. Likely had a good game. But they stayed scrappy. They was trying to punch at the ball. They had an interception. They got their fumble recoveries. You know what I'm saying? They did all that. They was still scrappy and shit, making they fucking plays. So shout out to the Bills defense, and then shout out to Josh Allen and company. Josh Allen, the running backs, Todd Johnson, Ray Davis, and James Cook. They ran. They got him down the field. Josh Allen had some running plays. He scored a touchdown. He had a couple big throws to the tight ends or for some first downs. Khalil Shakir, who made some big catches to get him some yardage. So shout out to them. They executed more cleanly and efficiently. They wasn't trying to do all the, we need the big play. You seen that with a big play arm quarterback like Josh Allen. They wasn't trying to be, we need it all in one play. We're going to make the big splash play. We're going to do it. They just, let me get 2 yards here. Let me get 5 here. Let me get 6 here. Oh, Khalil Shakir got 12 there. Okay. Let me get 6 there. Let me get 4 there. Let me get 3 here. Oh, Khalil Shakir. Let me get 20 there. Let me get, Dawson Knox. Let me get 10 there. Kincaid, let me get 8 there. Oh, and just kept running here and there, just kept the sled moving. Efficiently, just efficient and executed. Didn't turn the ball over once, not once. Despite the last little stop at the goal line where they forced him for a field goal, Josh Allen got stuffed, tried to run it in, and then I seen him doing the little lateral shit. I'm like, I know you trying to wrap him up, but as the other, I think it was like 2 defenders I seen coming in at the end, I'm like, let him throw that shit. Let him throw that shit. Because you scoop that up, that's a scoop and score the other way. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, that's how they wanted to play it in that situation. But still, shout out to the Bills coaching staff, their offense, and their defense for executing what they knew they wanted to do, what they knew they had to do to win the game, doing the little QB spies, making sure they're setting the edge, even though they didn't all the way contain or stop Lamar like that. And Lamar, even despite the miscues and the early turnovers in the first half, he still had a good game. He still had a good game, but the Bills defense and the Bills offense and coaching staff and situations, they just executed better. And they came out with the win. So shout out to them. Hopefully they're able to overcome the next level of it, but we're not gonna go there quite yet. Just to stay on this game a little bit more for a second. Even with the Ravens, making this one a great game, and they played good too. They started executing a lot more efficiently in the second half, offensively, and defensively, but more offensively. The 2-point conversion that early in the game, chill out. It's like the same mistake I kind of spoke about with the Lions yesterday. It's like onside kick too early. Relax, and I think that they should have just let it be 21-20. Worst case scenario, what? You score 27 when they have 24. They got to kick a field goal. You know what I'm saying? If you score again, and then if you think about it now in hindsight with how the game resulted, it would have been 27-27. Because, back to again, Mark fucking Andrews. 2-point conversion. Wide open. Done this a million times with Lamar. Just catch the ball, go down. And when I seen the whole setup of the 2-point conversion, when they scored in that drive and everything, how they was moving, I said, they're probably gonna, the defense, it's probably gonna expect Lamar to roll out in some type of way and give it to Andrews. They should still run a play like that, similar to that, and this time switch out whoever whatever they feel like Andrews gonna run that route, and have Likely in there right now, because Andrews had already had the fumble where he was not all the way in a funk, but you could see it affected him, but he still came back on the next drive and caught some key passes and shit. Lamar still trusted him there, but I was like, they should switch him here. My thinking was, for the 2-point conversion, there's only 2 things that make sense. You do an RPO with between Lamar and Henry to just run it right in, especially with the formation that they was in, because they had the D-line and the linebacker spread out. So just let Henry run it in. Or you got to do some type of RPO or whatever rollout and get it to Likely, because Likely was on fire right there. And for some reason, the Bills cannot cover that nigga, right? But they don't do that. Lamar trusts his guy, which I respect, and you got to love it. And Mark Andrews ain't no slouch. This ain't no beat-up Mark Andrews shit. It's just this game. And I feel like there's been other key games, regular season and playoffs, that I've seen with Mark Andrews where he drops a key pass or something like that. We're not going to go there for right now. We're going to go back to the present time. Lamar trusts his guy, always been there, shorthand guy, It's wide open. Falling down. First of all, keep your feet, my nigga. That's how you too nervous for the moment. You still fucked up from the last shit. Keep your feet, bro. But you're wide open, you're falling down. Just corral it and secure it, son. Drop it. Tie the game, at least force it to overtime. Well, I feel like even if they would have lost the toss, that defense would at least made a stop, and they probably would have scored and went down the way the offense is rolling. But you drop Mark, you drop it, and that's tough, you know. That's just a tough fucking loss right there for the Ravens. Who this is another year, especially with how they started this year, really shitty, and then ended this year. It seemed like they was on fire, and this was another year, just like last year. It was like, nah, this might be our time. It should be our time. You know, to get over the hump, get to the Super Bowl, and probably win the whole fucking thing. But again, they come up short by beating themselves. No one could beat the Ravens but the Ravens. After seeing this whole season play out and these past few playoff seasons play out, the only team that can really beat the Ravens is the Ravens, and the only person or the only team that could beat Lamar is Lamar. And Lamar was beating himself today in the first half. In the second half, he came back, got his shit together. He said, hold the fuck up, nigga. Let me get right. Let me tighten the fuck up and get back on point. Show these niggas who the fuck I am. It's the MV3. But other than that, you can't start the game like that. You gotta how you played in the second half or after the turnovers and execute after that is how you have to be throughout the whole time, throughout the whole playoffs, throughout the whole season, because you know in the AFC, the margin for error is too fucking tight. With Joe Burrows and Josh Allens and Patrick Mahomes and crazy defenses in the AFC and shit, and weather and not having home field advantage, you have to be on point from start to finish. You got to execute efficiently. The only people that could beat you is you. The only team that could beat the Ravens right now is the Ravens. They beat themselves today. Turnovers, miscues, you can't have that shit. Drops. You know what I'm saying? Not covering to leave it, letting shit be too leaky too early in the game, not setting the tone like, yo, we here to hit and fuck y'all up. We here to cover and fuck y'all up. We here to get the ball and fuck y'all up. Not setting the tone, too leaky on defense. You know, if you don't execute and you beat yourselves, every time it's going to be hard to overcome and get over the hump. Especially when you're turning the ball over that many fucking times. And the other team does not have any turnovers. And they're just ebb and flowing and efficiently just doing their thing and acting like they've been here before. While y'all been here before also with them, and y'all not doing y'all thing. So it's tough. Now, you know, we got the not even a trilogy no more. It's a whole series now. Another series now. Bills versus KC should be a crazy one to watch again. And then we got Eagles, Commanders, which in the regular season, you see how they was playing each other, and that was entertaining to watch both those games, and this should be entertaining again. So we're going to see how this shit turns out for next week. I'm going to try and definitely get back to it as soon as I can, again, with some more videos this week. I'm going to try and get to some other thoughts of leading up to these games and maybe some other things going on in the NFL. I'm going to get back to the NBA eventually too, but I'm going to just say this right now before I wrap up this episode and try to get to those new ones that I want to put out with these quick hits here. I think we might be shaping up for the rematch of Chiefs-Eagles. That's what it might look like. And even if it's not that, it'd probably be fun to see Chiefs-Commanders at this point. Bills-Eagles, I don't think will be entertaining. Their offensive styles and shit. But, I mean, they be playing in a dome, so, you know, both the motherfuckers might actually wake the fuck up and throw the ball and start getting shit cracking. But, Bills Commanders, could I settle for that? I don't know. But we'll see. Like I said, it might be shaping up to be a rematch of Philly and Kansas City. For right now, I'm going to wrap it up. And like I said, try and get back to it. Some more videos on my takes leading up to these games and some other things going on. But, you know, it's welcome to the franchise, you know. Volume 12, episode 12. It's playoff season. It's your guy, the franchise guy, the franchise kid, aka Young Sporty, doing what I'm doing like I do it for TV. Y'all enjoy y'all week, enjoy y'all night, and y'all be easy.